This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome to Spirit's Journey, coming to you live on Truth Frequency Radio and simulcast on Oneness Talk Radio. Your hosts are Patrick and Catherine Andrews.
Join us each week as we explore a wide range of metaphysical topics such as dreams, astrology, intuitive readings, and life purpose. You'll receive practical guidance so that you can live your most awesome life.
Learn more about what we do at intuitiveschool.com and connect with us on Facebook at Spirit's Journey Radio. Hello and welcome to Spirit's Journey. We are coming to you live on Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception. We are being simulcast on Oneness Talk Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. We are here in the Heartland holding the energy for spiritual truth and awareness. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Catherine. Welcome, everyone. We've got an awesome show for you today. We're going to dive deep into dreams. So if you have a dream that's been plaguing you, you don't know what it means, today is the day to call in and find out what does that dream mean. And I'm going to give you the numbers that you can call in. In the U.S., you're going to call 213-233-3998. If you're in the UK, give us a ring at 44203-393-2871. And so before we get into interpreting some of your dreams, because we got a lot of people that are going to be calling in today, I have a feeling, let's just give you a little background on the way that we interpret these dreams. So we look at it from the standpoint of function, and we look at what is the function of these objects in your life, and then how does that relate to you as a soul? And so you have to understand that dreams are not literal. And I know that's a big thing for a lot of people to swallow, but dreams are symbolic. There is a message and it's not literal. So the first thing is that it is a message from your subconscious mind back to your conscious mind about your thoughts and feelings of the previous day. And so people in the dream represent aspects of you. So if you call in with a dream today, what we're going to ask you is if there's a person in the dream, we're going to say, okay, describe that person in 2 words to us. All right, like their characteristics, funny or sympathetic or smart, whatever. All right, then those are ways that you think or that you were expressing the previous day. So yes, you do have something in common with that person. Now, the other thing to recognize is that the places and the things in your dream also represent parts of you. So if you dream that you're in California, the first thing we're going to ask you is, okay, give us 2 words that you think of to describe California. And you might say, oh, it's busy or it's relaxing. However you want to describe it to us, okay? So be prepared to answer those. And then after the dream, so dreams are a 2-way street. And so after you've had the dream, beyond interpreting it, what we want you to do then is answer the dream. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I had a dream once and this was a recurring dream. And a recurring dream basically means that you keep getting the same message over and over again, but you're not responding to it. So in other words, it keeps repeating. And so I had a dream once where my dog was in the dream, and I would be looking for my dog, and he would have been lost. He was lost. And I kept saying, where is this dog? Where is this dog? So the message to me was, I had this habit of mine that I just couldn't control. And the habit was actually not focusing. I was getting into some, technology, and I'd get on Facebook and I was like, oh my gosh, an hour's gone. I wasn't focusing. And I couldn't really pinpoint what this habit was. And so the dog was always lost. So once I responded to that dream, I stopped having that kind of a dream. And so Patrick is going to share. Do you want to share like some of the different categories of dreams that we may be looking at that people want to call in on today?
Well, there's all kinds of different dreams. I mean, really, any dream that you have will do, even if it's just a little segment of a dream. Some of the common types of dreams that we have are things like recurring dreams. That's when you have a dream where the message or the same common theme repeats over and over again. And that's a sign that there's something that you really need to respond to, because your subconscious mind is telling you over and over again, this is something that's still occurring. So that's really an important time to pay attention. Sometimes recurring dreams develop into nightmares. And so nightmares are especially important messages because the subconscious mind is using more graphic imagery to get your attention. Sometimes we have health dreams, and so we're going to talk about some of the common symbols as we go throughout the show, but one of the symbols that often comes up that represents the physical body is a car. So we're going to talk a little bit about the language of the mind and how dreams actually work. But just as one example, when we dream, we're dreaming, and the dream is coming from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is related to the soul, and the soul does not have a sense of mortality. The soul is global and eternal, whereas the physical body is mortal and local. So we have to take dreams from that perspective. When we look at the symbol, it's important to understand that when a dream symbol is coming up, it's coming from the perspective of the subconscious mind. So, for example, in a health dream, a lot of times a car shows up. So how the car is acting or the condition of the car reflects a lot of times the condition of the body. Many times we have dreams where people talk about their car doesn't have any wheels or the battery is dead. So a dead battery would represent your energy is low. The lack of wheels would indicate that you can't really cause any forward motion. So it's indicating there may be some kind of a health condition showing up. Now, we found as we interpret people's dreams, a lot of times if it's a health dream, it could be talking about some kind of condition that if you don't take any corrective steps, it could show up sometimes within like 2 to 3 days of the time that you had the dream. And if you think about it, your body has an immune system that does all of its thing without us even knowing about it. And so whenever we do show symptoms because we're getting sick, our immune system is already aware of what's going on. It's already sending out the signal to send out the troops to kind of combat the infection, whatever it is. But if the infection continues to grow, then we start to see symptoms, and the symptoms are really, when the virus or the bacteria is kind of taking hold in the body. So your body, your subconscious mind, actually knows that there's something going on even days before, and so it's important to pay attention. That's just one of the many, many types of dreams. Later on, we'll get into some of the more exotic types of dreams, like precognitive dreams and visitations. We won't talk about those right now. But once again, I'm going to give the number again, just so that you have it, because I know sometimes when we're talking on the air, it goes by pretty fast. So in the U.S., you can call in at 213-233-3998. If you are brave enough to have your dream interpreted on the air, we are happy to do that with you. And in the UK at 44203-393-2871.
Awesome. And we have another expert dream interpreter that we may have on the air today with us as well. We'll see if we can get her on the show. So
I'm here.
Kerri. All right. So
Yes.
Kerri Leigh is here. Awesome dream interpretation specialist as well. So Kerri, do you want to share a little about your perspective on dreams and how you have used dreams to help you understand yourself, your purpose, and soul growth?
So one of the things that I really love about using sort of the universal symbols is that it speaks to us across a kind of continuum. And I have studied also personal symbols with Kriyananda from the Temple of Kriya Yoga in Chicago. And what I've come to understand is that we have these universal symbols, and then we also have personal symbols. And I did a lot of studying also with Robert Moss, who is awesome. And that we can interpret our dreams using both of those levels. So that, for example, sometimes we have this universal symbol. For example, what you were talking about, the car represents the body. But then there may be some symbol that's peculiar just to us that might be a personal symbol that's maybe thrown in there as well. So I think that's one of the things that I've done is I've taken a look at how personal symbols and universal symbols kind of work together. And I also, over the years of interpreting my dreams and recording my dreams, I started going back and looking over the last year, the last 6 months, and seeing themes that were coming through to me from my dreams. And so that was really interesting for the work that I was then doing, to be able to consciously address some of those themes that were coming up over and over for me in terms of the symbols that kept coming up too.
So what kind? I was curious, what kind of symbols were coming up? What was it showing you?
So, for example, one of the symbols that has come up frequently is that I'm dreaming in, the dream occurs in a house or a home that's being rehabbed. And it can be a house or a home that's in a foreign country, or a house or a home that I grew up in and went back to, or a house or a home that I've never been or one I'm familiar with. But so it occurs in different scenarios, but that theme of the house, and I'm in the dream and I'm going down into the basement, doing things there, doing things on the ground floor, and then doing things upstairs. And I'm finding that in these themes that, for example, the upstairs, which represents like maybe a superconscious mind, if you're way upstairs, has a different quality to it in these houses than ground floor, for example, where you tend to live most of your conscious life, as compared to the basement, where you live most of your subconscious life because of the levels of mind. So I've been taking a look at the actions that happen on those different floors of the house and the state of the house. You know, what's it like? What am I doing there? All those kinds of things. So that's been an interesting thing for me to realize and look back over time.
And so, Kerri, the mind, when we dream about the house, it relates to our mind because we live in the house. And so then the other aspect is, well, where does the soul live? It really lives in the mind. And so that's really interesting that you were doing this work on yourself and hence had these dreams of houses being rehabbed. It was a direct correlation to what you were doing in your waking life. And did you notice when, you were in these houses, was there any sense of familiarity?
Sometimes. I mean, I remember one dream, it must be 3 or 4 years ago now, where I was in this bombed out city, and the house was a ruin. And so that was a little disturbing to me. But then I kind of remembered that sometimes, you need to metaphysically, you need to have the destruction of something so that you can create something new. So I was doing at that time, I was doing a lot of work on myself. So I wasn't too distressed by it. I took it as a sign that I was really working on my mind and consciously making a lot of changes and getting rid of stuff that was no longer serving me.
That's a very scorpionic thing for you to do, Kerri.
Yeah, I am a Scorpio.
Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, loves to get in there and destroy and rebuild. That's actually what we're supposed to be doing. So it's interesting that, with the Pluto action, Pluto ruling your Scorpio, Pluto was really interested in going into the basement, so to speak, going into that unconscious part of the mind and bringing up stuff. And even though, that house, you said, one time it was a ruin, remember, dreams are always just a reflection of our perception of things. So maybe you felt at the time, oh my God, I'm a mess. But in reality, it wasn't that bad, and I always have to remind myself of that too, because sometimes I'll have a negative dream and I'll be like, oh my gosh, but I'll be like, well, wait, this is my perception, because the subconscious is reflecting back to us our perception of how we see things.
Sure. And in that dream too, part of the actions, part of what didn't really distress me too much was that I was with my daughter, and we were having a really good time and a really good relationship, and we were exploring this and going together. And so I feel like it was at a time when I was working on healing some aspects of my relationship with my daughter, and some things that were hidden in our psyches that were having to come out. So it actually felt like a pretty positive thing for me.
Now that makes a lot of sense, because you talked about a lot of times that the house that you were dreaming of would show up as being rehabbed. And so that would be like, if the house represents the mind, it'd be where you are literally like reconstructing and reconfiguring your thoughts and beliefs and, kind of changing your mind in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I had another one last night, another house dream last night, which was really interesting. And I don't tend to have nightmares. Looking through all of my the years of my dreams, I can't remember a single nightmare that I've had. So I guess that must be because I'm paying attention. I don't know.
Well, you have been for quite a few years. You actually have studied metaphysics and done quite a bit of interpretation, haven't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, and the fact that you haven't had nightmares, let's just delve into that a little bit, because I've had a lot of clients that have come to me for that reason. They have these nightmares. And so a nightmare is an issue where the person has a lot of anxiety around it, to the point where it turns into a nightmare. The anxiety has built up so much. So you typically, in adults, it stems from an issue that's been festering, and to the point where it's, the person's anxious about it because for so long they haven't found a resolution to a particular issue. And so then it becomes this nagging nightmare, and a nightmare gets your attention. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night freaked out. It gets your attention. And so the issue that it's trying to get your attention to needs to be tended to in the waking life. So, obviously, the fact that you haven't had nightmares means that you are paying attention, you are responding. There have been times when I've had nightmares at different episodes in my life, and it's sometimes not that the person isn't paying attention, but they don't know how to resolve the issue. And so it's like in a nightmare, you have some kind of monster coming at you, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And there's usually an association with that of feeling like a victim or helpless, because you've got this big monster and you feel like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm helpless. And so in the waking life, there is that attitude that we can attach usually to a nightmare.
Yeah. So I don't know, Patrick, if you want to share those phone numbers again.
Right. Yeah. So that's 213-233-3998. And then in the UK is 44203-393-2871. So let's talk about just for a minute here, because I know a lot of people may be new to dream interpretation and maybe have not even considered that. And so, again, we're on the phone with Kerri Leigh. She's a longtime friend of ours. She has done a lot of work in metaphysics, just as Catherine and I have. So, that's why we thought it'd be fun today to talk about dreams with her. So if you are interested in finding out more dreams, one way you can do that is to start by keeping a notebook by your bed. That's one of the simplest ways. Just remind yourself when you go to sleep that you want to remember the dream, and then first thing in the morning, you're going to write your dream down in that notebook. So you need to have a pen or a pencil with you right by that notebook. You don't want to waste any time getting up to go to the bathroom or anything else when you write the dream down, because the dream is like an echo. And what you will find is that when you get up, even doing something simple like just going to the bathroom before you come back to record your dream, a lot of times that dream will be gone. It's amazing. So just write it down first thing. Just write down enough notes so that you can remember what the basic idea of the dream is. You don't have to be exhaustive in your detail, but you do need to have something where you can write that dream down. And reminding yourself when you go to bed is just like an affirmation. So as we've talked about before, the way that our subconscious mind works is that we hold an image in our mind of what we expect to occur in our life. So when you are putting that notebook and pen by your bed and you are reminding yourself that you want to remember your dream and write it down in the morning, you are creating a clear image in your mind of exactly what you want. And you'll find that even if you haven't remembered your dreams in years, that within just a few weeks, you'll be remembering several dreams a week on a regular basis. And it's really just a matter of giving it attention. And so then you can work on how to interpret dreams. We're going to be talking about the language of how the mind communicates with us a little bit more in the second half. And so let's talk just a little bit about where dreams come from, because I do want to emphasize this point. We talked about dreams come from the subconscious mind, but sometimes we don't think about ourselves as being on a journey. And we are beings of light. We are eternal beings. And so our subconscious mind and soul do not look at our life the same way that we do physically. Your conscious mind, your personality, your physical body, you see all these things as being mortal. So, for example, another common symbol that shows up in dream is death. So in a dream, death does not mean the same thing. Death is just a transition from one part of our life to another. And so, when we look at those things in context, just like we were talking about the house is a place where we live and we exist. So to our soul, the mind would be where we exist. And also, just like we talked about the physical body being a car, well, a car is a vehicle. So your consciousness would see your physical body as being a vehicle that gets you from one place to another. So can you think of any other symbols that might be relevant, people might want to make a note of, some common ones?
Well, I love the high school dream where people are back in high school, they're adults and they're back in high school and they can't find the classroom, or they get to the class and it's test day and they're like, oh my God, I haven't studied for my test. That's always fun. So I think that's a really good one because it shows in some way we feel we're not prepared. And again, that may not be the truth, but it's our perception. It's like a lack of confidence in oneself to be able to get by in life. Do you have perspectives, Kerri, on those dreams where, we feel like we're not prepared in addition to the high school one?
Yeah, I think that basically a lot of dreams for me about not being prepared have to do with groups of people and not being prepared for where the group is going or something like that. I know when I was working in a job and all of a sudden the company got kind of taken over and they started to go in a different direction. I remember I had a dream about being on a train with lots of people, and the train began to fill up with water and drown me.
Oh my!
So what I took from that was I wasn't kind of prepared. I wasn't keeping up. I wasn't wanting to go along with the direction that this whole group of people were hurtling towards, on this train.
So when
That's
the train...
another...
I was going to say,
ahead.
so when the train was filling up with water, did you feel overwhelmed or did you feel like it was kind of suffocating you? Like when you said you connected this with like a group or an organization or something like that, and, then the train was filling up. So would you describe that sensation was like being overwhelmed or being kind of suffocated, or how would you describe that?
Actually, I would use both of those words, suffocated and overwhelmed, because it was, I didn't know what to do in this situation at work. What I eventually did was I quit and I went somewhere else because it was making me so unhappy. But, I would describe it as overwhelmed and that I wasn't ready to go in a completely different direction in fact, not only I wasn't ready, I didn't want to go in that direction.
Okay. So I know we do have some callers who are waiting to get in, and we don't have enough time at the first half here. We're going to be going into a break in just a moment. So if you are on the call board waiting, please just hang in with us, and we will start taking some calls right after we get back from the break and see how many we might be able to get through here. So please, if you're on the call board, just go ahead and hang in with us, and we'll be right back with you. And so we're going to get more into interpreting dreams here as we get into the second half. We talked about making sure that you write down your dream, and then what you're going to do is start looking at the dream, but how you perceive that dream, how you interpret it, is very important. So we're going to get into the language that the mind uses. It's actually a language very similar to like if you were learning Spanish or French or something like that, that is a language you're not used to. You have to learn a few words at a time. So we're going to be teaching you some of that vocabulary of dreams as we continue with this show. And so if you want to go get a notebook or something like that during the break, that might be a good idea, because then you can take some notes and be able to refer back to those if you need to. So since we are approaching the break, we are going to be back in about 3 minutes here at the bottom of the hour. And so while we're on break, you might also go to our page on tfrlive.com. And Truth Frequency Radio is a listener-supported station, just like public broadcasting. And so your contribution will go to help support Truth Frequency Radio and Spirit's Journey so that we can continue to offer you this cutting-edge information on spiritual growth and development and new ideas in metaphysics. This is Spirit's Journey on Truth Frequency Radio, also being simulcast on Oneness Talk Radio. We will see you on the other side.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome back to Spirit's Journey. We are coming to you live on Truth Frequency Radio. I'm Patrick, and Catherine is with us. We have our good friend Kerri, and we are going to be taking a caller. We have a Chris on from Michigan that we're going to come to in just a moment. So if you are Chris, we are coming to you in just a moment.
Hey, Chris. So we're ready you're going to have different perspectives on your dream. You've got 3 expert dream interpreters. And so remember, if there's a person in the dream or a place, we're going to ask you to describe that person or place in a couple of words.
All right, Chris, I believe that you are unmuted. Can you hear us?
I sure can. How you doing?
Excellent. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure.
You're welcome.
So what's your dream, Chris?
Well, essentially, it's like I have a shower or a bathroom in the middle of my house, like the middle bathroom, but it's different in my dream, but it's the same bathroom because it's in my house. And I go to this bathroom, it's got like this big shower, and there's a drain in the bottom. I'm staring at it, and it's like fills up with water, and it keeps filling up, and I can't stop it, and I can't like plug it, and I have no way, and then the door is locked. I can't get out of the locked door, and the water keeps filling up, and the room's filling up. There's a real little window, but I'm too big to get out of the window, but I can like breathe through it, and I can't open the door, and then I wake up.
Ooh. All right. So a couple good symbols here, Chris. A bathroom typically is a place in our mind where we release things, right? We cleanse ourselves. And water we associate with the emotions. So what this dream is basically saying is you've got a lot of emotions that are overwhelming you and making you feel like you're trapped. And when you get into this really emotional state of mind, you feel trapped, like there's no way out, like these emotions overtake you. And there's a little bit of awareness, which is the window. A window, gives us greater perspective. And so there's this part of you that recognizes there is some way to deal with all these emotions, but it's not big enough for you, right? You can't get out the window. So it's like you need another tool. You need some guidance on how to deal with all these emotions that you have. And you're not releasing them because the drain is being plugged up. So in some way, all these emotions are like filling up and causing you some anxiety. So the suggestion I would have is, find a way to release these emotions, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness. And if you don't have the tools, figure out, you could read some books on emotional release work, finding somebody, an objective party that you could talk to about some of these emotions. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that does. So, okay. All right.
And Kerri on the line. Kerri, do you have any other perspectives on the dream for Chris?
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. That's a pretty good interpretation. And one of the things about, that Catherine said about, not really feeling like you had the tools and you were, desperately trying to figure out a way, but you couldn't get through the window, but you saw that there was something. I think, I would suggest exactly what she said is maybe finding someone, doing some therapy, I don't know, some emotional release therapy or something, doing it in a safe place. I don't know if you go to a gym and work things out there, or maybe just letting yourself cry. Just let it come out. I know guys don't do that very often, but I think this dream is giving you permission to do some release, and then as you do release, I think you'll start to see a way through it.
Okay. Can I ask you one more quick question?
Sure.
I sometimes have these dreams about like people I went to school with, and they're good. They're not like bad dreams. They're just rather interesting and very in depth. Like when I was like a teenager or junior high type thing. Well, what is that about? Would you say?
So whenever you have people that show up in your dream, you want to ask yourself if you can describe them in one or two words. So especially if they're people that you grew up with and went to school with, you can probably describe them at least with one or two words. And if it's somebody that you don't know, then you might look at just kind of the quality of energy of the person. How do they strike you? How do they appear to you? But basically, this is an aspect of yourself because you're the dreamer. So everything that's coming out of the dream is coming out of your mind. So you are actually, your mind is using people from your life that represent those different aspects. And the fact that these people are from your past and that you're back in this environment, like when you were a teenager, it probably indicates ways of being that you want to bring back out that you haven't expressed yourself in that way in a while. So you're trying to get back to your roots, so to speak. You're trying to bring some of those things out. One of the important things, and I was going to mention this with the bathroom dream too, once we interpret the dream, it is important to find a way to apply it. So just like you were given the suggestions to, find a way to release your emotions, where, some people may go walk in nature, things like that. So like the bathroom represents a mindset. So that's like whenever you subconsciously feel the need to release, it's like you've had some kind of a mechanism or technique that you used in the past to release these things when that emotional pressure would build up. And so this dream is indicating whatever you have done in the past is not working. So you don't want to do the same thing over and over again. You want to find something new, experiment with something new, whether, if you normally would walk in nature, maybe that's not working with this. So maybe you need to talk to somebody, something like that. Now, in this case, when you're going back to like an old way of expressing yourself, as you look at that and you're honest with yourself about that, see if that is something where it's actually productive for you. So, for example, if some of the people that are showing up in your dream maybe were rebellious or irresponsible, well, that may not really be something productive for you to kind of bring back. But let's say some of the people that are showing up, you might have identified them as like being creative and fun-loving or something like that. And maybe you look and you realize, wow, I haven't really done very many creative things in quite a while, and I miss it. Or, life has just become kind of a drudgery for me. I need to bring that fun back into it. Then that would be something that you want to find ways to bring that back into your life. Because again, your subconscious mind is giving you that message. It's like, look, these are some things that you're missing in your life. And there's a part of you that's really kind of craving to bring that back.
Would you say that, how would you describe like those friends from the past? Are they kind of happy-go-lucky, didn't have a care in the world because you were teenagers? What's the essence of those teenage years?
Oh, yeah. I would say it encompasses all of that. Probably more not being burdened with the things in life as a adult, maybe you could say.
Yeah. Well, so I can see the relationship between the two dreams, because like you're wanting to bring back this happy-go-lucky kind of fun way of being that didn't have a lot of responsibilities. And now as an adult, you got all these responsibilities. And so the emotions are building up and you're feeling like, I can't release them. So I can see a connection. So go do something fun that you used to do in high school, Chris.
Okay. I'll go get a bite.
Now, yeah. Now, one thing I would mention too is going back to something we talk about a lot is that the mind is activated by a very clear image of what we want. So sometimes as adults, I know we get so focused on the responsibilities that we have that we forget that we can still have fun. And in fact, with responsibility goes freedom. So, when we're younger, we don't have as much freedom. We need to develop that sense of responsibility to take care of what needs to be taken care of. And so, the thing is, as we grow older, it's actually great because there's so many other things that we are capable of doing, and we have all these opportunities that open up. So just, think about what you want in your life now, because you can just create that clear image of what it is that you want in your life. And, then you'll be amazed how things start moving in that direction.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Chris.
Okay,
and,
have a good day.
Okay, you too. And it looks like we have another caller, also from Michigan. So we have Marva, and we are getting ready to go to you, Marva. So if you will give us just one moment. And if you're still trying to get in, we did have word that there's just a little bit of slowness in our call board. So if you're trying to get in, please just hang with us and keep trying. And we have some people calling in. And right now we're going to Marva. So Marva, are you there with us?
Yes. Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Great. So we're going to let Kerri interpret this dream. So go ahead, Marva, and tell us what you've been dreaming.
Oh, well, I've had this dream off and on for quite a few years, and it's like if I'm in a public place, a hotel, a restaurant, and all of a sudden I decide I wanted to use the bathroom, and I never can find a bathroom anywhere in any of these places. And I'm roaming the halls and everywhere, and I can't believe there's not a bathroom anywhere.
Well, yeah, so we seem to have a theme developing here, so maybe the listeners, maybe there's a need for people to learn how to release, because we just got done with another bathroom dream.
All right, Kerri, you want to take a shot at that?
Sure. So it's interesting, first of all, that, what Patrick said is that you are, yes, looking for a way to release something. And you're in a public place with lots of people. So, it may, to some extent, you may be feeling that you can't be you in this space, in this public place. And you can't actually allow yourself to be who you are. And therefore, you're needing to release some emotion or something, and you start looking for a way to do that. And in a public place, you can't find that because there's a lot of restrictions when you're out in public socially, for behavior and all of those things. So that would be one way of interpreting that. Catherine, do you have another perspective?
Well, I would ask Marva, have you felt some times that you just couldn't really express yourself for some reason? Were you in situations where you felt like, oh, I can't really say that?
Not really, no.
Okay, because, not finding the bathroom is like you wanted to release something, but you couldn't find a way how. So it's like kind of like your mind is getting overloaded with stuff, like things that you need to say that you haven't said to people. Are you the kind of person that, like, you don't want to rock the boat, so you try to be nice to everybody and not say what's really on your mind?
Yes, in a way, yes.
Okay, so that is probably the issue here, where, there's things you want to say, but you think, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, so you hold it in. So the idea is,
exactly.
Finding ways to express it in a way that you feel safe.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
So how long ago was it that you had this dream, Marvin?
Oh, it's been probably a year or two.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had this dream lately.
Oh, okay. That was one thing I was going to mention, too, that just kind of came to my mind. Most dreams deal with things that are going on about 24 to 48 hours of the time that you have the dream. So, it's really, it's good to find out what dreams are, especially if it's one that's kind of been hanging out in your mind that you were wondering about. But, as we move forward and as you write down your dreams, then you can be more current and relevant with the things that are going on in your life, because then, you still may have some of this going on. So basically what you would do is, based on this dream, you would just look for any instances where maybe you're holding back, where you're thinking one thing but saying something else, or not saying what is really going on. So just maybe as you're moving forward, look for those opportunities where, you can share your thoughts and, like Catherine said, in a safe way.
And sometimes people that have that kind of dream, they express it at night, like through sleep talking. So have you ever, has anybody said you sleep talk?
Yes.
Yeah, because that might be a way that you're trying to release some of these thoughts at night where you feel safe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of like, sometimes it's almost like a pressure cooker where, the pressure builds up and it needs to be released in some form. So if you don't release that pressure during the day, then you release it at night. And that's where some people sleep talk. And then in more extreme cases, people actually can walk in their sleep. And one thing that we found through our dream work is that a lot of times when people are sleepwalking, there is some intense, a lot of times there's emotional energy built up with it. And so since they can't express that throughout the day, then they actually start acting that out. Their mind is actually overriding those natural mechanisms that usually keep us paralyzed, literally, while we're dreaming, so we don't thrash around and hurt ourselves.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in, Marva.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Oh,
Bye.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
So for folks that are really wanting to get more into dream interpretation, there is an amazing book, I have to say. It's called Make It in Public, Dream Symbols Revealed. You can purchase it at intuitiveschool.com, or you can go to ozarkmountainpublishing.com. Has a glossary in the back. It has all different types of common dreams that we've been talking about today, as well as a method, a systematic method that we use, that we're using right now, that's in the book, that you can use to learn how to interpret your dreams. Kerri, are you having any upcoming dream classes in the Chicagoland area that you want to announce to people?
No, I had one in Rockford, Illinois last year, but I haven't scheduled anything for this year.
Oh, okay. So Kerri does dream interpretation. We may have her back on again, because I know we're kind of coming up to the bottom of the show here, but you may see her in the Chicago area if there's any events up there, and of course we're in the Kansas City area. And like Catherine mentioned, the book is Naked in Public: Dream Symbols Revealed is the book she was talking about. That's available through Ozark Mountain Publishing. You can also get that on Amazon or any major bookseller as well.
So, there's a lot of other resources, too. If anybody's interested in lucid dreaming, which is a little bit more advanced, there's a lot of other good books on that. And I would also suggest, if you're interested in just reading about dreaming, too, Robert Moss's books are always good. He's written several several books, and he's written one called Here, Everything is Dreaming, and one of the things that I have been kind of interested in is looking at my life as a dream and starting to interpret my conscious life using dream symbols. And that's been a very interesting exercise. I don't know if any of you have heard that, we're living in a dream. That's one metaphysical concept, so I thought I would explore that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I have done some work. I don't know which technique you're talking about specifically, but I've used the language of mind and dream symbols when I have visions. For example, in meditation, sometimes I've used those symbols because, when we have a vision or something like that during a meditation, a lot of times it's using that same imagery that we would experience in dreams. And if you think about it, it's a two-way communication that we're having between the conscious and subconscious mind. So that does make sense to me that, we should be able to do that. So
we've got another caller coming in. So we're going to get that. Another dream. Looks like a lot of people have been dreaming. So we're going to be answering that call.
All right. So it looks like Armando from, we have another caller from Michigan. A lot of people calling in from Michigan today. So we are going to go to you. So hello from Michigan. Are you with us?
Yes. Hi. Sorry, I'm here.
No, that's okay. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Amanda. So have you got a dream for us today?
Recurring dreams a lot, but this one was also, I just had it the other night, about my teeth. And it's like I was using dental floss, and then my teeth kind of like were moving around, and they were, like almost falling out. And it was just so painful. And it really freaks me out in my dreams because it's so real. And I feel like, oh no, now I'm going to have to get a fake tooth. And my teeth are going to fall out. What am I going to do? It's just so vivid. I remember it just being so painful.
Oh, that's a very common dream. I've had this a lot from people. So teeth and the physical, their function is to mash up the food so we can digest it, right? So in the language of mind, teeth represent our tools of the mind. So when we take in information, we can assimilate what's happening and understand it. So basically what the dream is showing is that you feel like you have so much going on in your life, so much coming at you that you're not able to digest it and assimilate all the experiences that are happening to you. So my question to you would be, do you feel overwhelmed? Do you have so much happening in your life where you feel like you can't even process it?
I do feel overwhelmed, and I do feel that, I just don't have enough time or energy to kind of take care of everything I need to take care of, definitely.
So this is very common for people today, being overwhelmed. So one of the suggestions for this dream is, and especially because you had a lot of anxiety with it, you were really afraid that you'd lose a tooth and, so forth. So the first thing to do would be adding some meditation time in. No TV, no technology, just sitting quietly and allowing your mind to just be. That's actually useful time where you're assimilating on a subconscious level all the experiences and people that are passing through your life when you're awake. So people think, oh, I'm wasting time if I'm just sitting there. You're actually allowing the subconscious mind to assimilate because, we're taking in like 90 million bits of information every minute. That's a lot. So no wonder we're overwhelmed. So you just need some downtime. And I would also suggest doing nighttime or morning journaling where you're just kind of writing down your experiences of the day. And you might have some insights about what happened or why it happened. That would be my suggestion. Kerri, do you have any insights about the teeth dream?
Yeah, I also think that dream is becoming more and more common as people are spending a lot of time on social media, and that people are, I don't know if you are doing that, Amanda, but I think it eats up a lot of time so that we're kind of not able to do this assimilation. And we no longer have that downtime. We no longer allow ourselves. we think sitting and doing social media is downtime, and it's not. It's actually overstimulation. So I actually, I actually went off Facebook like a year ago, and I do not have Twitter. So it's easy to be seduced by all of that because there's so much coming at you. So I would just try taking a break. You don't have to go off it forever. Maybe try it for a couple months and do some of the meditation and some of the journaling in that time that you would use for being on social media, and just, substitute that for that time for a couple months and see if that relaxes you and allows you to integrate your life a little better.
And with that word integrate, I wanted to add that there is actually a way to open up or make a bridge between both hemispheres of the brain, the subconscious and the conscious. It's called the corpus callosum. And there's actually activities, specific postures and things with the hands and the breath that you can do that open up the bridge. So in other words, the assimilation takes place faster and you get what's going on in your life. Like, oh, why did this happen? So if you're curious at another time, you can email us at info@intuitiveschool.com, and I'll share a couple exercises with you to open up that corpus callosum so you can get the bridge going between the conscious and subconscious, and your assimilation will happen better, and then hopefully this dream won't recur.
And one of the things you can do too is look up brain gym exercises. Those help balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And one thing that I was going to mention about that too, since we're also trying to help you understand the language that the dreams are coming in from the subconscious mind, is, we talked about the teeth being used to break down the food. Well, food, we often talk about being knowledge, because knowledge nourishes the mind, just like food nourishes the body. And so another way of looking at dreams when you're having trouble with your teeth is also sometimes it's when we're not using what we are learning, what we're taking in. So it's like information we're taking in, but we're not really using the tools we have available to apply that in our life. So maybe something that you've recently become aware of or you're learning about. And so look to see if there's any areas where maybe you're not applying that information in your life too. That might be another perspective on it.
Yeah, and it could just simply be you're not listening to your intuition. That's one of the mental tools. So if your intuitive impulses, really pay attention to those. What is your zodiac sign, by the way?
Capricorn.
Capricorn. All right. So anybody who's Capricorn's going through major stuff. You've got Pluto going through your sign, and now you've got Saturn shortly going to be in your sign. So there's going to be a lot going on for Capricorns, and you're really going to need to be listening to that intuition and integrating these brains to be able to keep up with both Saturn and Pluto. So we got a lot of transformation coming on. If you're interested in an astrology reading, give us a ring or email us at intuitiveschool.com, especially Capricorns.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. All right. And Kerri, thanks for being with us today also. We really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Unfortunately,
it has been. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly this goes. And so if you're interested in learning more about dream interpretation, we talked about some different sources, and keep in mind some of the symbols that we've talked about, like a car represents the physical body, house represents your mind, teeth are how we apply information, also bathrooms how we release. So that's our show for today. We love having you with us. Please join us on Facebook at Spirits Journey Radio. Be sure to like our page, or check us out at intuitiveschool.com. This is Spirits Journey on Truth Frequency Radio. Patrick?
I'm Catherine. We'll see you next week.
Bye for now.